Om. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Padmabhavam Vasishtam Shaktim cha Tatputra Parasharam cha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Matasya Shishyam Sri Shankaracharya Padma Padam cha Hastamalakam cha Shishyam Tam Todakam Vartikakara Manyan Asmadgurun Santatamanatosmi Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Sri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. 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 This is the mic on. That's amplifier. सर्ववेदान्त सिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्. न विज्ञानमयकोशः आत्मा स भवति. This is the negation of the Vijnanamaya Kosha that we are seeing. Why it is not that Vijnanamaya Kosha is not Atman. We saw in the verse number 205 that the Vijnanamaya Kosha is nothing but a reflection of the self, because of which alone we come to know whatever we know. And that also is in the form of only vrittis, thought, perceptions. And when the nature of this Vijnanamaya Kosha is ego, aham janami, iti ahankara rupaha Vijnanamaya Kosha. That's why he said, Asannibruttau tu sadatmana sputam pratitiretasya bhavet pratichaha tato nirasa karaniya eva asadatmanaha sadhu aham adi vastuna. Aham adi vastuna, from ego onwards, etc., all of them, of the real self when it is nirasaha karaniyaha. Asadatmanaha nirasaha karaniyaha. When the ego onwards, all of them are to be recognized as illusion. And also in 206, as we read now, Ato nayam paratma syat Vijnanamaya Shabdabhak Vikaritva Jadatva Cha Parichinnatva Hetutaha Drishyatvat Vyapacharitvat Na Anityo Nitya Ishyate Ato nayam paratma syat vijnanamaya shabdapak vikaritva jadatva cha parichinnatva hetutah drishyatvad vyapacharitvan na nityo nitya ishyate. Hetuhu means karanam. Hetuhu is the logic of reasoning. In any argument, first of all, one has to prove the other person's argument as not correct. Then there is a hetu, the reason that is to be given. Then shruti. Then quote the relevant scriptures to point out why it is so. Here, first point is ataha, therefore, paratma na ayam syat vijnanabhaya shabdabhagayam na paratma. The Vijnanamaya Shabda, that which is known to be Vijnanamaya, Shabdabhag means Shabdam Bhajati iti Shabdabhag. That which is known to be Vijnanamaya Kosha, na pa ayam Vijnanamaya Kosha, Paratma, not it is the highest self. And now he gives reasons. One, Vikaritvat, Jadatvat, Parichinnatvat, Drishyatvat, Vyapacharitvat. These are the 5 reasons. And all of them are characters of Anitya. Characters of that which is not eternal. So that is the reason, this is the Hetu. That is why it says Hetutaha, from the standpoint of Hetu, Karanam. So it is interesting that the methodology of even how to refute a argument is also, we can see in this. So here, he has given okay. First one is Drishta Nashta Swarupatvat. Marutoyavat Avasamatra Sattashrayatvatah. The existence of the Vijnanamaya Kosha is like that of the mirage water. If you see it, it is there. If we don't see it, it is not there. In other words, as the Buddhists also would agree unto this point, Kshanikatvat. Because it is momentary. As we've seen in the Panchadashi class also, if I'm seeing a tumbler, then that vritti starts. Then see another object, that vritti starts. Then one more thing, other thing starts. When I'm seeing the tumbler, I am not seeing the keyboard. When the vritti of the keyboard comes, the vritti of the tumbler is disappeared. And when I look at the, or come to think about the computer, then the vritti of the keyboard is disappeared. So every thought arises and then goes away, arises and goes away. And as it arises, it gets illumined and with the, by which we come to say, I know. That I know this tumbler is replaced by I know this keyboard, then replaced by I know the computer. Even the I know is also associated with that particular vritti, rises and falls, rises and falls, rises and falls. That is called drishti, drishta nashta swabhava. Drishta means what is seen. Nashta means a moment you end the drishti, it becomes nashta. Like the mirage water, you see, it is there, but you go and inquire, it is not there. उसका स्वरूप क्या है? Akshanikam. So therefore, here he says, Drishtanashta Swarupatvat. And he says, Nityaha Atma Vikaritvadi Hetubihi Anityaha Vijnanamaya Koshaha Na Ishyate. Nityaha Atma. Where we see, in that very example which I said, while I am seeing the tumbler or I am seeing the keyboard or I am seeing the computer, one thing is definitely common, that awareness is there as a support. That is not a vikari. While the vrittis are vikari, prajna is not vikari. That prajnanam eva brahma na vritti jnanam. Atma jnanam, atma, so ahamatma iti na vrittihi, ahamatma iti prajna. The awareness is what is to be understood as the nature of the consciousness, na vritti rupam atma. It's not a thought. Whereas all jnanam is vritti jnanam. All that we know are all in the form of a vritti or a set of vrittis. And the vrittis obviously are subject to change of vikari. So therefore, nitya atma vikaritvadi hetubihi anityaha vijnanamaya kosha na ishyate. Definitely na ishyate, not considered. What? Vijnanamaya kosha anityaha atma iti na ishyate. विज्ञानमय कोशः आत्म भिन्नः विकारित्वात् जडत्वात् परिच्छिन्नत्वात् दृश्यत्वात् व्यभिचारित्वात् स्थूल देहवत् इति अपि प्रीति प्रयोगः. It is no different from the sthula shariram only because it is not perceptible. Therefore, we consider not it as a physical entity, but it is similar to that of the sthula shariram. It is also subject to change. It is also subject to modification. It is also subject to appearance and disappearance. So that's why etavatsu hetushu satsu api tatra mohad atmatvam kalpitam iti paunapunyena bahuvitataya anatmatvam dridaniyam iti vaibhavam. Anatmatvam dridaniyam. So one has to firmly recognize the nature of Vijnanamaya Kosha as na atma anityatvat. Tacha vikaritvam. Why it is vikari? Janmanashatvam. Because it is as janma, it has nasha. Therefore it is vikari. Jadatvam aswaprakashatvam. Why it is called jada? It is because it cannot illumine by itself. It does not self-knowing, in other words. Parichinnatvam means asarvagatatvam. Limited because it is not like the Atman, all-pervading. Drishyatvam chit vishayatvam. It is drishyatvam, it is perceivable because it is an object of awareness. Then Vyabhicharitvam Abhava Pradiyogitvam. It is subject to non-existence. Iti Vedaha. Thus, therefore, none of this, or many of these reasons are given why the Vijnanamaya Kosha also cannot be the Atman. So having established that, now comes another interesting analysis on Anandamaya Kosha. Anandamaya Kosha is a very deep, we don't even know about, see, at least when we are feeling it is mind, when we are understanding it is intellect. But what is this Anandamaya Kosha? Where is it? In what form it is? So that is explained here in the verse number 207. Ananda Pradibimba Jumbita Tanuhu Vrittistamo Jrumbita Syadanandamaya Priyadi Gunakaha Sveshtarthalabodayah Punyasyanubhave Vibhadi Kritinam Anandarupa Swayam Sarvo Nandati Yatra Sadhu Tanubhrut Matra Prayatnam Vina Ananda Pradibimba Chumbita Tanuhu Vrittistamo Jrumbita Syadanandamaya Priyadi Gunakaha Sveshtartha Labhodayah Punyasyanubhave Vibhadi Kritinam Anandarupa Swayam Sarvo Nandadita Inna Sadhu Tanabhrut Prayatnam Vina Ananda Pradibimba Chumbita Tanuhu. Oh, this poetic excellence of Shankaracharya. So Ananda Pradibimba. आनंद की हेतु है, बीज है आत्मा. आनंद इज द नेचर ऑफ परमात्मा. उसका प्रतिबिंब जिसमें होता है विजृंभित. जृंभित मीन्स actually Gurudev writes it as is that modification, what do you call it? It is touched by, reflection of the, no, kissed by. Jrumbanam. Jrumbanam means to kiss. Kiss means a very soft touch of that. Jrumbita means vyapta. Here, the Vashakar says, vyapta tanuhu. Tena, vyapta. Tena atmana, ananda atmana, jrumbita, vyapta tanuhu, shariram swarupam yasyaha vritte. Sa ananda bardibimba chumbita tanuhu. Tanuhu, body or a form. And why, when it is the reflection of Ananda of the Paramatma, उसका अनुभव ही आत्मा अनुभव होना चाहिए. ये आत्मा का प्रतिबिंब होता है वो आनंदमय कोश में. If Anandamaya Kosha is considered as a tanuhu, a form in which Atmanah Anandam alone is reflected, then one should experience the Paramatma's Ananda only there. But no. Why? Tamo ujrumbita. But it is equally covered by tamas. Tamo ujrumbita, tamasa avidyaya jrumbita, janita avidya parinama rupa vrittihi. Anandamaya Kosha Syat. So it is a reflection of the bliss of the self covered by the avidya. इसलिए हमको ये अनुभव होता है, नो डाउट अबाउट दैट. Everybody feels very peaceful at the sleep. Not that they are able to recognize it at that time. That time we are not able to experience it. Only afterwards we say, oh, I slept well. Because at that point there is no recognition of it. Why? Avidyaya avrutatvat. So, but at the same time, it is next line it is said, Syad Anandamaya Priyadi Gunakaha. Priya Adi, meaning Priya Moda Pramo. Priya means a kind of feeling of affinity. Moda is more proximity to that which we have the feeling of affinity. Pramoda is experience of it. In the vritti rupam priyam, drishti rupam pramoda, अनुभव रूपम प्रमोद. उसको इसके बारे में सोचने में जो वृत्ति होता है वो प्रिय है. उसके देखने से जो फीलिंग होता है वो उसका मोद कहते हैं. उसका अनुभव करने से प्रमोद. So these three, Priyadi Gunakaha, how did it happen? How does it happen? Swa Ishta Artha Labha Udaya. Swa Ishta, what is desired by one, उसका लाभ होता है. स्व इष्ट लाभोत उदय है. स्व इष्ट लाभोदय है. When it is obtained, what is desired is obtained at different stages. When it is in the form of a thought, when it is in the form of a sight, when it's in the form of an experience. दृष्टवस्तुषु दर्शन लाभ भोग जन्य सुख विशेष अवयवकः प्रियादि प्रमोदांत गुणः अवयवः यस्य स इति विग्रहः. This is what it means. So उसको देखना है, उसको seeing or having the proximity, having it and experiencing it in that way. तस्य कादाचित् कत्वाः स्व इष्टा इति स्वस्य इष्टः स्वेष्टः. So it is said that experience of the objects of desire from priya to pramoda is also happening in Anandamaya Kosha. In other words, Anandamaya Kosha is experience of joy about the objects one likes. That is Anandamaya Kosha. So uska, like when you say Vijnanamaya Kosha, it's a vritti of I know. But Anandamaya Kosha is the experience of joy upon seeing, having, and experiencing the object of desire. So here it is said, now, also the next point is, it's not only the experience of objects which one has come to experience, one has desired, but also the product of good things that has been done by a person. That's why next line, Punyasya anubhave vibhati. Kritinam ananda rupaha swayam. Kritinam, meaning Kritinam धीमतां पुण्यस्य प्राकृतस्य फल उन्मुखस्य अनुभवे फल अनुभव काले विभाति विशेषेण भाति. जो कर्म हमने किया है जो कर्म पुण्य कर्म हमने किया, whatever meritorious actions that we have done, and the result of which comes out in the form of an experience, whatever it be. For example, if somebody is recognizing you, praising you, these are all, it is not Ishtavastu, right? It's not Ishtavastu, but one is being praised, one is being extolled, one is being, looked with great respect, or one is regarded. So that is all because of what one has done in the punya, because of which, the result of which it comes. That also gives a certain amount of joy. As another day I was explaining that in chapter, Bhagavan explains Sukham to Idanim Tribidam Shruno. Sukham is also three types. So at the level of the sense organs, it is in contact with the sense object. Sparshajam Sukham. This is one level. Sparshajam Sukham. What is coming out of joy, out of a contact of the senses with the sense objects? Then other one is experience of something which one has at the deep level of feeling an emotional fulfillment. Vritti Sukham. Vritti, that vritti is of the nature of joy in the form of a company of somebody whom you like, or emotionally you are in love with something that is reciprocated. So those things. Then comes Tripti Sukham. Tripti is fulfillment. Tripti is accomplishment. Tripti is success. Tripti is achieving something. Yeah, that is also a certain Sukham. So joy born out of contact of the senses, joy and experience of happiness born out of emotional fulfillment, joy born out of self-satisfaction, contentment, ये सब आनंदनीय है, even though when experienced it is coming from Anandamaya Kosha. Anandamaya Kosha Rupaha Anandameva. So I always give the example when the mind is agitated over a particular thing, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it. So much of disturbance is going on in the mind. But when you get it, the object is not giving the happiness. There is a mental quietude. The agitation is no more. The object is closer to you. And therefore, when the agitation of the mind has ended, the Anandamaya Kosha, which is none other than the reflection of consciousness, will come to manifest as joy. Or certain experiences caused by the previously what is done as punya, punyasya anubhave vibhadi. Vibhadi means it shines. It is expressing kritinam. Kritinam, dhimatam, punyasya kritanam. Ananda Rupa Swayam by itself. So, tam eva artam sputayati, spashtayati, yatra yasmin kale, tanu brut. Tanu brut means all those people who are embodied people, individual people, sarvapi, sarvopi, sharira prayatnam vina, tatkalika prayatnam vina ityartha. That is what he said, prayatnam vina, without any effort. That means experience of the results of the past actions which are meritorious does not have a individual effort at this point. There is no effort is done at this point. Without that, a experience of joy takes place due to past actions. That is also called Anandamaya Kosha. पुण्यवशात् सुख आकाराः जाग्रस्वप्नयोः संभवन्ति तामसी वृत्तिः आनन्दमयकोशः इत्युक्तं भवति तस्यापि स्वरूप आवरकत्वम् अस्ति एव. That Nahi tat yoge niramayam sukam nityam nirupadikam sujnanam. Now, interesting point is this Priyamoda Pramoda and Punyakrita Sukam. There are two things here. When an object is perceived or experienced coming as the Sukham is considered as Anandamaya Kosha. But during the deep sleep time, when none of the sense organs are active, none of the mind's thoughts are there, at that time also one has an experience of joy, and therefore it is evidently clear that is not born out of any of the senses. Therefore, the source of that must be not the senses or the touching of the senses with anything else, or emotional fulfillment or intellectual satisfaction. That source of that is Atman. But the problem there is tamo maya, because tamomi abhibhutatva, tama abhibhutatva, sushupti kale tamo, sushupti kale tamasa vritaha, tamasa avritaha. Because of the overwhelming tamas, one is not able to recognize it as from Atman. So that is why it is here given. So, atra punya shabdena kamya karma janya purvam grahyam. So, and that is all explained. Punya siyana dwara anadi. So, when do one experience then the true ananda of Atman? He says, Jnana dwara anavrita ananda abhivyanjagatvam ananda avaragata ananda avara anandavaragata garadam Mbojagatvam iti tadrisha anandasya koshatva abhavat tata tamojrumbita tva abhavat vrittiriti bodhyam. Tamasi sukakara vrittihi anandamaya koshahi iti krutva sushupto tasya udghatatvam darshayati tadanim ajanyasya swarupa sukasya eva avidya vishayatvat pratyaham arabdha punyakshaya eva dainandina palarupa sushupti sambhavat uktam ki sutra bhashe adrishtam api Bhoga prasidyartam na pala prasidyartam iti. Adrishtam abhi bhoga prasidyartam na pala prasidyartam iti. So anyway, coming to the point of what happens in the time of sleep versus what happens in the time of recognition, removal of the tamas due to the sadhanas. On removing the tamas due to sadhanas, this very same ananda which is experienced in the Anandamaya Kosha in the Sushupti becomes the Samadhi Anubhavam. The Samadhi, in the Samadho, Ananda Anubhavam is directly experienced due to elimination of the power of avidya, which otherwise covers the experience in the state of Sushupti. That avarana is removed because of jnana abhyasa. In Bhagavad Gita, he points out this very nicely. Sukam tu trividam proktam. Bhagavan says, Sukam tvidanim trividam. Three types of sukam in 18th chapter, he says. And listen carefully. And he says, Abhyasat ramate yatra dukkhantam cha adhikachati. He makes that second line, which is considered by Shankaracharya and traditionalists as connected to Satvika Vritti, Satvika Sukham. But Gurudev somehow says that need not be connected. Because abhyasat ramate, abhyasat due to practice, ramate he dwells or enjoys, abhyasat ramate yatra dukkha antam adhigacchati. End of dukkha. And Shankaracharya and Madhusudana Saraswati connects it to the next line. Next is what? Yattadagre vishamiva pariname amrutopamam. He says the first line in the next verse, he says, Yattadagre vishamiva. From the beginning, it is like visham. What? The sadhana that one has to do for gaining the true experience of Atmanubhavam or Atmanaha Anandam, Yattad Agre Vishamiva. Why it is Agre Visham? Because one has to let go Priyamoda Pramoda Vrittaya. What can be obtained through the senses, etc., or through emotional satisfaction or intellectual fulfillment, उस सबको छोड़ना है, वही है. That will become bitter like Visham, because we are used to that. Yattadagre Vishameva. But Pariname, when it is changing over a period of, what is a Parinama? Abhyasa. That is how they connect it. Abhyasa Tramate. Abhyasa only makes a Parinama. What happens when the Parinama takes place, meaning the change takes place, from Visham it become Amrutam. What is difficult become most nectar-like elixir. Pariname amrutopamam. At the time when it is transferred itself through practice, that is called tatsukam satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. आत्म बुद्धि से शुरू होता है. आत्म बुद्धि प्रसादजम सुखम सात्विकम. ये इससे विषय सुखम नहीं है, ये वृत्ति सुखम नहीं है, ये अहंकार सुखम नहीं है. आत्मबुद्धि प्रसादजम दुखम सुखम. It is born out of atma buddhi, atma nishta. So what it here means is Anandamaya Koshe yadasti Paramatmananda Paramatma Atmanah Ananda Rupameva Pradibimbida. That's what he says. Ananda Pradibimba Jrumbida Tanuhu. This Anandamaya Kosha is reflection of the Ananda of Atman only. But Vrittihi Tamo Jrumbita. It has been covered by tamas. वो तमस को हटाना है. वो तमस क्या है यहाँ पे? अविद्या. उसको हटाना है. उसको हटाने से, but the removal of that will make it clear. वो कैसा हटाना है? ज्ञान अभ्यास. By the practice of knowledge alone, that will go away. So then, during the waking and dream, what one gets is the experience of the joys born out of either the sense organs coming in touch with sense objects or vritti sukham in the form of a joyful thought or some satisfaction at the intellectual level, which is happening in the state of waking and dream. But in the state of dream, in deep sleep, the joy is not born out of any of this. Therefore, it is born out of the Atman only. So that is how it is proven here. Anandamaya koshasya sushuptau spurtirutkatha swapnajagarayorishat ishtasamdarshanadina. Anandamaya koshasya sushuptau spurtirutkatha swapnajagarayorishat ishtasamdarshanadina. Sushuptau spurtihi. Fully. Utkata. Utkata adhika spurtihi spuranam sushuptau ananda maya koshasya. The full expression of Anandamaya kosha takes place in the sleep. Tada sukasya dukkha asambhinnatvat iti bhava. क्यों उसमें आनंदमय कोश is fully expressed in the state of sleep, even though we don't know it fully, but it fully expresses. We don't know it because of tamas. Now, why is that it is the pratibimba of Ananda is fully available in the deep sleep? दुख का हेतु ही नहीं. दुख किससे होता है? हाँ, in indriyas are weak, when the sense organs are weak and thereby we are not able to enjoy whatever we enjoy, ये दुखम हो गया. वो मन का वो कुछ वृत्ति चल रहा है, some agitating thoughts are happening in the mind, उसको भी दुख होता है, उससे भी दुख होता है. और बुद्धि because of its inabilities also दुख होता है. ये तीनों के अवसान से, अवसान means they are not there, then दुख का हेतु नहीं है. दुख हेतवः न. The sources of sorrows are not there. So therefore he says, dukkha asambhinnatvat. There is no source of dukkham there. Tata api ajnanena avritatvat. Even then, because of the avarana takes place of the ajnanam, na mukhya ananda rupatvam. उसका मुख्य आनंद मीन्स आत्मा आनंद रूपत्वम मुख्येन न संभवति. बिकॉज व्हाट? अज्ञानेन आवृतत्वात्. अज्ञानेन आवृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः. तो ये आपको वही इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इज, जो हम पढ़ते हैं, हम गीता पढ़ते हैं, उपनिषद पढ़ते हैं, सब ये सब वृत्ति ज्ञान हो गया. ये वृत्ति ज्ञान है, मीनिंग it is in the form of a thought. It is a form of very clear thoughts only. Clarity comes, no doubt about that. But though vritti jnanam, when does it become anubhava? Only when this jnanam obtained through listening, study, reflection, hearing, all that, उसका अभ्यास करने से ही होगा. अभ्यासात रमते यत्र. That's a very important statement he makes there. उसका अभ्यास करना है. अभ्यास, ज्ञान अभ्यास क्या है? ज्ञान अभ्यास is whenever ajnana is raising its hood, tack, one hit you have put. The ego, when it rises its individuality, I like it, I don't like it, I want it, I don't want it, judging, and also engrossed in the preconceived notions, occupying mind in the past experiences, occupying the mind in unwanted, engagement in this world, all those things which are habitual, that needs to be with the correct knowledge. ये सब illusion है. These are all mithya. These are all not true. These are not real. These are not necessary. This is not something I need to engage in. ये अभ्यास होना ही चाहिए. So that alone will remove the tamas, which covers the ananda of the Atman. Swapna jagarayoho ishat swalpa spurtihi. As I said, the source of bliss is always Atman only. The objects of the world or the company of good people which you enjoy at the emotional level, all these are all conduits, external catalysts. Conduit means what? It's only a channel. It's not the source. See, when you are opening a tap, water comes. Is the coming from the pipe or coming from the source? You cannot say pipe se water aata hai. No, pipe se nahi aata hai. Is the pipe the source of water? In the same way, sparsha, sense objects and sense organs coming in contact with each other is only a catalyst. So also all other things that we come to experience through body, mind, and intellect, they are only catalysts. Source is Brahman only. And so because in the waking state, we are so connected to the body, mind, etc., स्वप्न जागरयोः आनंदमय कोशस्य स्वल्पा स्फूर्तिः. That's why it says स्वप्न जागरयोः ईशत्. ईशत् means little. When ishta sandarshanadina, because it is coming in contact with desirable things. So, therefore, even though the source is there, but because of the occupation of the mind, body, senses, etc., in the state of waking and dream, it is because of the busyness that we are engaged in that, all of them, the expression of that Brahma Ananda is only little there. And out of ignorance, which most of them do, most of them come to conclude, is se aa raha hai. Is vastu se aa raha hai, is admi se aa raha hai. Isn't it? The object is giving joy. This object of perception gives me joy. This person's company gives me joy. Or this achievement gives me joy. This satisfaction, this contentment gives me joy. Ye sab, and that is where we go wrong. Ishta sandarshanadina adipadena labha bhoga parigraha tada binna vishayaka vrittibihi asya vritti नाश्यमानत्वात् सुषुप्तौ वृत्ति अंतरा अभावात् उत्कटत्वम् इति भावः. Utkatatvam, fullness. Why? Because sushuptau vritti antara abhavat. There is no thought modification there. This thought modification would disturb it's like water is there and reflection takes place, but it's moving. Constantly moving. And not only it's dirty its own thing. Definitely the reflection will not be good. More than it is dirty, it is also constantly fluctuating. Therefore, a full measure of the joy of Atman will not take place. Only Ishad, very little. So that is why Anandamaya Kosha. What is Anandamaya Kosha is understood. And what happens as Anandamaya Kosha is also understood. It is by nature Ananda only. What Ananda? Atmanaha Anandameva. Sushupti Samaye, even though it is fully available, but covered by tamas, ajnan. And during the waking and dream, it is available as indirectly, only little we get because of vrittis, born out of seeing, hearing, tasting, all that. That is why it is said, Pashyan, Shrunman, Sprashan, Jikran, Ashtan, Gachan, Swapan, Shwasan, Srujan, Unmishan Nabi, Indriyani, Indriyateshu, Vartanti, Idimatva, na Sajjate. He doesn't give importance to all of them, even though seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, walking, talking, everything he does. But Naiva Kinchit Karomi. I'm not doing anything. Because the moment he thinks he does, the vritti has started. Vritti started, actual Ananda, original Ananda is disturbed. And the other day I read somewhere beautifully, Ramana Maharshi had beautiful statement. It's a very interesting statement. Of course, it has to be thought about very deeply. He said, जो प्रारब्ध है उसको हम रोक नहीं सकते. जो होना है वो होना ही होगा. जो न होना है वो नहीं होगा. How much ever you try. Whatever happening, it will happen no matter what. Whatever will not happen, whatever you want. So, चुप रहो ना. சும்மா இரு. In தமிழ். எது நடக்க வேண்டுமோ அது நடந்தே தீரும். தமிழ். எது நடக்காதோ அது நடக்காது. என்ன செய்தாலும் அதனால் சும்மா இரு. Therefore, you keep quiet. I mean, that is the very high state of understanding, maturity. High state of maturity is, I know, naiba kinchit karo. I don't do anything. See, here, not doing does not mean helplessness. Huh? So one may consider this as helpless state. Where जो होना ही होगा, होगा जो हो जाएगा, जो नहीं होता है वो नहीं होना है, वो जो नहीं होगा. So what do I do anything? चुप रहो. ये चुप रहना, it is not out of despair. Huh? Yesterday also somebody asked this question. I don't understand. What? If prarabdha alone decides things, what is that we need to do then? What should, if things are going to happen as per what is decided, predestined, so it is only a fallacy that we have some prayatna. Okay. So I told her, see, Bhagavan Krishna, what did he say to Arjun? In the 11th chapter, he showed very clearly, मैं उन सबको मार दिया. किसको? I have already killed them. Who? Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Duryodhana. And Arjuna is seeing it also. Because he asked this question, whether we will win, they will kill us, or we will kill. आपको देखना है ना, देखो. आपको जो देखना है तो देखो. That's what he says. If you want to see, you see it. I'm not forcing you to see it. If you want to see it. So he sees it. What? They're all gone. Then after that, what does he say? Therefore, do. Therefore, be my instrument, and you will win. You will win. That is decided. You will anyway win the war, which is also decided. So, karo na. Now the point is, one who comes to recognize that it is already been done by Bhagavan, then why should I do anything? This is where the question is. So I told her that you will do it because that is what Prakriti does. Even if you don't want to do it, you will do it. And you have a choice of unwillingly doing it or joyfully doing the same thing. ऐसा है कि we all know that we are going to get old. Whether you want to get old dragging yourself there or gracefully. Gurudev always said, gracefully get old, no. Because you cannot stop it. Can you? Can you decide to stop it? So you have a choice to do it joyfully or dragging yourself. So Krishna says, joyfully fight. No, you know the reason. Result you know. And you cannot stop it. You cannot stop it because Prakriti will make you do it. Even when you don't want, it will make you do it. And when you see this, that's why it is said, who are the Mahapurusha? Prarabdaya samarpitam swavapuhu ityesha manisha mama. प्रारब्ध को वो समर्पण किया है. Prarabdha mein samarpit. Here, prarabdha samarpitam, what does it mean? I know that it is going to happen, and I do not want to, I mean, I cannot stop it, but I have a choice of doing it joyfully, choicefully, happily. This also requires maturity, huh? Because one may say, if it is going to happen, why should I do anything? That's why Ravana Maharshi said, why? Let it happen and watch it. And if you want to participate, participate. And joyfully participate, you knowing very well that you are not going to make any change after all. Whatever is your role, do it. Hmm. So here, that is what is called abhyas. अभ्यास क्या है? ज्ञान अभ्यास में आपको इतना फ्रीडम होता है, this much of freedom you get, this much of what do you call that, feeling of effortlessness. So that effortlessness comes out of jnana abhyas. That is what makes an individual move from vritti jnanam to atma jnana. From mere intellectual appreciation and knowledge to become a practical application of that. That is why it is said that very Anandamaya Kosha, which is expression of Ananda of the Atman, even though present fully in the state of Sushupti, not available because of the absence of practice, which is tamas. Avidya nash nahi hua. Whereas in the waking and dream, the same experience, very Ananda of Atman only, indirectly available to you. And because it is available to you little, or you recognize only little because of all other activities that are going on with the mayadi, mind, senses, and all that. Therefore, only little you expression of that you will find. All right, one more verse we take up here. Naivayamanandamaya paratma सोपाधिकत्वात् प्रकृतेर्विकारात् कार्यत्वहेतो सुकृतक्रियायाः विकारसङ्गातसमाहितत्वात् नैवायमानन्दमयः परात्मा सोपाधिकत्वात् प्रकृतेर्विकारात् कार्यत्वहेतो सुकृतः क्रियायाः विकारसङ्गातसमाहितत्वात्. Tvat, when it comes, it becomes hetu. Hetu means karanam is giving, because here the logical reasoning is brought out. Therefore, Anandamaya paratma na eva. Ayam Anandamaya kosha na paratma. Kyun? Why it is not? Sa upadikatvat. Because it is still having what kind of upadhi it has. What is kind of upadhi it has? Ajnanameva upadhi. Anandamayasya ajnanameva upadhi. The Vijnanamayasya ahankara eva upadhi. Manasaha vritti eva upadhi. Pranasya pranakriyaha eva upadeha. Dehasya indriyadi upadeha. Right? For body, the sense organs are the upadhis. For prana, the activity of prana is the upadhi. For manaha, vritti is the upadhi. For vijnanamaya, it is ahankar is the upadhi. For anandamaya, ajnan is the upadhi. So, sopadikatvat. And wo bhi prakriti hai vikarat. Prakriti ka vikar hai. It is also modification of the prakriti at the subtlemost level. And also it is Sukrita Kriyaha Karyatva Hetoho. And it is also created as the result of the past actions. We'll come to that. We'll explain that what that is means. Vikara Sangada Samahitatvat. Also, it is connected to all other Sanghada, all other accumulation of all the conglomeration of all the other upadhis born for the Deha, Prana, Mana, Vijnanamaya. Vikara Sanghada Samahitatvat. It is also connected to Sama Ahitatva. It is also connected, joined with all others as well. Therefore, this Vikari, Anandamaya Kosha, Prakritehe Vikari and Saupadikatvat. Three reasons he gives, four reasons actually. Saupadikatva, Prakritehe Vikaratva, Karyatva Hetuhu, Sukritakriyayaha Karitetuhu, and Vikara Sangatatvat. So these four reasons, Ayam Anandamaya Kosha, Atma Nabhavati. We'll see more of it in the next session. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhat Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo